What up, what up, what up? We are back for part 2 of Two Dudes and a Mexican on Championship Sunday. I'm your host once again, Peter Soprano, a.k.a. the Sports Guy. To my right, the resident Mexican, David Quinones.
Orale, mi gente.
And third and first episode. And how crazy is Aaron Hernandez? But seriously, we were talking about that off air. But
that was crazy.
Go. No, we're not promoting Netflix.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
But
not until Netflix, starts,
yeah. When they give us some advertising sponsors, then we'll start.
Yeah, fuck you, Netflix. Fuck you, Netflix.
But we got Championship Sunday, Dave. We are just an hour and a half from the AFC Championship, and then 3.5 hours after that, the NFC Championship. Before we do that, we want to get to another pick. I'll give you credit. National Championship, NCAA, this past Monday. LSU versus Clemson. I had Clemson, you had LSU. Close game for the first half. LSU pulled away in the second half. I'll give you the first thoughts since you were right on the pick. What were your thoughts on that game?
I mean, listen, what a game. I mean...
Last time hearing this season.
I thought it was a game that lived up to its hype. You had pretty much the two best teams in the country.
Yeah.
Obviously, Clemson hasn't lost in 2 years. Sunshine, you know what I'm saying? I mean, listen,
first time he's ever lost.
The
25-0 coming into today.
The big thing out of this game was, that LSU defense, man. They stepped up, and they were able to limit, Trevor Lawrence and making big plays. He even said it after the game. Yeah. The defense did a good job against them. Yeah. And you knew that LSU was going to put up big points. So
no touchdown passes.
Burrow's, just tremendous. I mean, he probably had the game. He probably had the game of his life.
He had the magical year.
The game
of his life was the Oklahoma where he threw 8 touchdowns.
Well, but regardless, this is for all the money. This is all for all the money. He showed up. He did what he needed to do. He threw for how many touchdowns?
5.
5 touchdowns. I mean, you knew that LSU was going to put up the points. I thought Clemson was definitely going to put up more points than they did.
Yeah.
But I thought that was the big tale, though. Obviously the LSU defense able to limit Trevor Lawrence and making big damage and making big time. So,
big time. I thought Clemson would have put up maybe 7 to 10 points more to at least have a close game. But yeah, LSU was able to run away with it late. Burrow was just unbelievable, and it seems
Burrow's not unbelievable.
He was unbelievable. He was, and he ends up breaking the NCAA record. He had 60 passing touchdowns this year, which is unbelievable.
That's insane.
See, you played 14 games. You're averaging 4 touchdowns per game. Like, that's ridiculous. And not only that, he's doing that, and he beat 5 top 10 teams this year. Like, 3 of those teams were top 5 teams. Like, that's just unbelievable. This is honestly probably the most unprecedented, unbelievable year in terms of resume that one team has ever went undefeated through. So it was just, to me, I couldn't be more impressed. He's going to be the number 1 pick.
Without a doubt.
He's an Ohio guy. He's going to Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully he can turn them around, hopefully for their fans. But he had a magical year, and I couldn't be more impressed. I thought these were the 2 best quarterbacks in college football.
Oh, yeah.
And
hands down.
For LSU to stop a person who had 44 touchdowns on his own this year, and he had 0 this game, I gotta give them all their props for doing that too.
I mean, listen, in all honesty, that's an incredible streak to go on. Being undefeated for 2 years. That's why. That was the other side of the coin.
I said the quarterback has never lost.
They're due. I mean, and that's what I thought too on the other side of the coin. I'm like, damn. Clemson's a hell of a team. That's a hell of a streak, but they were due, man. And
they got up to an early start. They were up early. That's the funny thing about it. They were. That was the funny thing about it.
We ran one in, didn't he? He ran one in, and then Joe Burrow ran one in himself. So it was like
whatever
back and forth, back and forth.
His quarterbacks were just unbelievable. Yeah. It's fun to watch that. And it's crazy that, yes, Burrow's going to be the number 1 quarterback going this year, and then Lawrence will probably be the number 1 next year. Like, he probably would have. Giants have their quarterback.
We already have our quarterback.
So they won't worry about
that.
He
can be the backup.
Hopefully. But I'll tell you, next year you're going to see more teams tank than anybody else. You're going to see teams.
So,
I'm telling you, if you have 2 wins, you're not going to get the first pick. Like, you're going to have to get 0 or 1 win to get the first pick. That's how bad I think teams are going to tank next year.
And that's what Miami's going to do.
Nah, I think Miami may get their quarterback this year.
Welcome to Miami.
Listen, there've been a lot of rumors with them and Tua. So
I was going to say, and they
may get it this year.
They're going to get a low. They have a low pick, so I mean, hey, you never know.
Tua.
Tua.
I don't know.
They got the 5th pick. I mean,
with that injury he had.
Well, they said he'll be throwing by April. So they said he's going to throw for teams in April. So
that's crazy.
Shit.
So if he can do that and he can show that he actually has it back, listen, I don't mind sending him. If I'm Miami, I don't mind sending him the whole year and to say completely rest up, be 100% for the following year. Because he was a top 3 quarterback this year. So
that injury really.
That injury if it's serious, that could really hurt his career. But if he's back to normal, then yeah, fine. Redshirt him. Even if you suck next year, that means you'll have another high pick next year to come back with Tua. So Miami may be in a good situation if they go with that. But as we said, college football is done now. We'll be back next year for that. Now it's time to get to the NFL Championship Sunday. Let's quickly recap what the games that happened last week. We had a great week of games last week. All the games most of them were tight. But let's start off with the first game that we want to talk about last week. Kansas City coming back from 24-0 down to Houston in the first quarter to blow them up 51-31. I personally, listen. Now, first of all, I said Kansas City was my lock of the week. I said they were the team that would win easily. And they did. They
ended up. In the end, they did.
But I even have to admit, when they were down 24-0, I'm like, God damn it!
Not a game left. How
the hell are you down 24-0 to Houston? But they got their groove in the second quarter. They ran off 31 points, and they blew it away from there, 51-31. And that last touchdown, Houston score was like a giveaway touchdown. So they pretty much put up 51 points in a row on them. So, with that said, how impressed were you more impressed with with Kansas City coming back from 24-0 now, or were you just sad that Houston blew the 24-0 lead?
No, listen, I was definitely impressed with KC, coming back 24-0. This game really shows like all it really takes is one freaking play. That wide receiver, I forgot his name, Hardman.
Yeah, McCall
Hardman had that great run back, and you saw that stadium come alive.
That's what they needed, that little spark.
Yep. It woke up this team.
Got into like the 50 or 45-yard line.
Yep. And I think what's even more impressive was Patty Mahomes, man. They're down 24-0. He's still on the sideline telling everybody, guys, calm down. We got this. Relax. He's still, has that energy. He still has that excitement. He still has that will. And
let's see if he has
that one play, I mean, it was crazy what that did. That changed the whole game, the whole complexity of this whole game. And they were just rolling. You see how dangerous this offense is.
Yeah.
This offense, I mean, is dangerous. And they tried doubling it uphill. And, you knew somebody was going to have a big game.
I just hate the defensive schemes against them.
It's crazy. And then,
you got to make them run the ball. Like, they don't want to run the ball. They want to throw it 50 times. You got to put, what you got to do against them? Do what New England tried to do against us. You got to make, they said, all right, Henry's not going to beat us by himself, and he did. You got to make their running back beat you by himself. You got to put the two safeties 20 yards back so Hill can't get behind you, Hardman can't get behind you, Robinson can't get behind you, Watkins can't get behind you, and just say, listen, I want you to dink and dunk me and run the ball 80 yards down the field every time. I don't want to see if you have the patience to do that. Because if you pass it, we're going to have 7 people in coverage, and we're going to probably knock it away or get an interception. And I don't think they can do that. So I just hate the schemes against them. They run these schemes that say, all right, we're going to play nickel, we're going to guard somebody one-on-one, we'll have them double team. But that doesn't work because they're still fast enough to outbeat double teams. Listen, Tyreek Hill is probably the fastest player in the league. He is a guy that when his players are running for touchdowns at sidelines, he shows off his speed and catches up to them so he can run into the end zone with them. He is by far the fastest guy in the league. It doesn't matter if you double team him or not. He can still get behind you. You got to have the safety just covered deep over the top 20 yards back and say, listen, you're going to have to throw it to him ahead of me. You're not going to throw it over my head.
But it worked. It worked for the first, for most of the first quarter, obviously. Because KC was dropping off,
that's right. But Kelsey dropped the easy ball. Hill dropped the easy ball. I think Kelsey maybe dropped 2 balls.
A lot of first down.
Yeah, so they dropped balls, or they would have scored that. And then they fumbled the punt return inside their own 10-yard line, which gave them an easy point. So I'm not even giving their defense credit for that. KC Casey was just making mistakes. So that's what I credit to. But it's going to be a tough one now for this week, but we'll get to that pick a little bit later. Second game of the week we want to talk about is, listen, San Francisco, I was very impressed with.
Going to the Super Bowl.
They
I hate to say it, going to the Super Bowl.
They completely beat up Minnesota last week. Kirk Cousins looked like the Kirk Cousins that I know and love. So now San Fran now moves on to face a better team. But against last week, I thought that they were ultra impressive. Close game for like the first quarter or so, and then they just pulled away. What did you feel about that game last week?
Listen, I thought the big thing that came out of that was impressive to me was what they did to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
They shut him down. That just goes to show you that this defense, this defensive front line is for real.
Well, I told you they were going to be back. They need a rest. They were dead tired of that year.
Yeah. They needed to get healthy, I guess. They needed that rest. And man, boy, did they come back in a big way.
Their front four got 5 sacks last week. They were doing nothing a couple weeks before that.
And Garoppolo made some throws. Like I said, man, that running game.
There's some questionable ones still. That worries me. That worries me.
But I mean, listen, you see though, they're able to run the ball though. I mean. Our producer said Jimmy G's handsome as fuck. Listen, in combination with all the running backs, I think they almost ran for 200 yards.
Yes, that was the big thing. They got the running game back.
So that running game. I mean, if it's able to do that, I mean, they're going to be every team.
I agree with that.
If they run the ball, and their defense, I mean, their defense is for real. So that very impressive win. Even though obviously I think we all picked San Francisco last week. Again, we don't have
Minnesota.
We didn't have the belief in Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
You take Cook out of the equation, that's it. He had nothing. He was left out to fry. So.
Listen, I thought the week off was going to do San Francisco's defense really good. They got D4 back for the first time in 6 weeks, so the defense was there. The part I was impressed with is, like you said, they were able to run the ball because their running game has not been good for the past couple of weeks, and they even switched to running backs, whether it's Raheem Mostert or whether it's Tevin Coleman. They've been rotating backs, Matt Breida, because they haven't been able to get a consistent running game like the last month. It's been all passing. The game against, I think it was Atlanta, all passing. The game against the Saints, all passing. They haven't been able to run the game normal. Last week, they went back to what they were a month ago, where I said they can be a Super Bowl contender when they ran the ball and played defense, and they did that last week. They weren't doing that the weeks before that, so which had me worried, but Now they're gonna have to go against. Now they're gonna have to worry because they're going against the best quarterback they've had to face since they faced him before after a bye week.
Yeah.
So, other games of the week: Tennessee Titans pulled the upset of the week.
Unbelievable.
Was able to beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Nobody gave him a chance. Everybody called me crazy. Got Dre over here. I tried to shut him up. He wouldn't stop talking. But listen, they found a way to win it. They actually dominated most of the game. Listen, you guys know my thoughts on it because I always talk about them. What's your thoughts on the game?
Listen, impressive.
The defense is impressive.
When we talked about this game, I obviously did pick the Ravens, but I did say, listen, it's possible. What I say, 2 words: Derrick Henry. He is the beast this playoffs. Again, it was
got some nice suits.
It was
top. He's got all purple. He's got all white, all blue. He's got some nice suits.
Listen, the beast last year was Todd Gurley. This year, man, it is Derrick Henry. I mean, nobody. Yeah, he was.
Todd Gurley 2 years ago. During the regular season.
I guess so. I guess you're right. But I mean, he is.
Challenge that.
Derrick Henry is the beast, man. In this playoff.
3 straight games of 175 yards or more.
He's doing just ridiculous things. He's carrying this offense pretty much on his back. I mean, Tannehill. All he needs to do is pretty much manage.
Get touchdowns.
He's
got 3 touchdowns last week. That's all I care about.
So, but oh man, I mean, he's fearsome. Very impressive last week. To go to Baltimore, in their home. To make Lamar Jackson,
make him just be a runner.
Oh man, they did a tremendous job. So credit to the Titans. Credit to your coach, man. Vrabel, man.
I was actually going to mention that.
Listen, he's making. It almost seems like he's making all the right moves.
I was going to mention that. I've been very hard on Mike Vrabel this year, but not because he's made a lot of stupid moves this year.
Hard.
Yeah,
but I think
he put a target on his back.
But it almost seems like he's making all the right moves.
He is now. He is. It's almost like he got all the stupid mistakes out at the start of the year.
I guess so.
there's numerous mistakes that me and other Titans fans can talk about he's made at the start of the year. But during the playoffs, he's been impeccable. He's made all the right moves. And most importantly, he's had the right defensive strategies. Because week 1, you're going against Tom Brady. You have to find a good defense to be able to slow that down. Week 2, you're going against Lamar Jackson. He's going to win the MVP this year. You got to find a way to slow that offense down. Now, this week, he's going against Patrick Mahomes. And then next week, you're either going to be going against Aaron Rodgers or you're going against a San Francisco team that arguably has been the best team in the NFC this year. So you're going to have to think, it's the coaching that's going to do it. Coaching in the playoffs is so important because you have to be so prepared. You can't make mistakes. You can't turn it over. And that's what wins football games. So I think the biggest thing...
Hey, take your shoes off. Huh?
So the biggest thing is just continue to not make mistakes and have a good defensive plan.
And just keep running the ball.
Week 1, I said you just got to guard Edelman and White. That's it. That's all New England had, and they did that. Week 2, I said just stop Lamar. That's it. Their wide receivers aren't good. Andrews, you can have somebody on him. They put their best cover corner, Logan Ryan, on Andrews, and just make Lamar Jackson beat him by himself, and he couldn't. Now this week, he's got to put everybody in the secondary. He's got to make KC run the ball, make them slow the game down, limit the possessions, and just put everybody in a setback that says, we're not going to let you get over the top for those long touchdowns. And I think the biggest thing about this game is, and we'll get to the game more, but I just think that the weather is going to play a big impact in this game. But right before we get to talking about more about that game, we want to talk about the last game from last week. The Green Bay Packers found a way to make it into the next round, and they beat Seattle. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's back to his old Super Bowl-ish form, so we'll see if he can continue that for one more week.
I think he shut the shit in his helmet, like, I'm making the plays.
He should have, because I still don't think his coach is that good. So with LaFleur on the sidelines, just shut him out. Rodgers, call your own plays.
Yeah.
And listen, run the ball when you got to run with Aaron Jones, because he's had a great year. Actually, a spectacular from Aaron Jones. I think he has 16 touchdowns this year. And Rodgers doesn't throw turnovers, and that's what you want in the playoffs. Don't throw turnovers. So what were your thoughts on that Seattle and Green Bay game?
Listen, it was a great game. I mean, obviously, Green Bay, jumped out to, a lead, and then all of a sudden, Seattle crept back. They made it interesting. Listen, credit to Green Bay, credit to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he went to his favorite target in Adams.
Adams is big. He forced the ball to Adams, and they couldn't cover him.
Yeah, they couldn't cover him at all.
They had 7 catches in the first half.
So,
and a touchdown.
The running game, as long as that running game is formidable and they keep running the ball, I mean, and they're gonna have good games. With Seattle, listen, you almost kind of thought that Russell Wilson was gonna make that comeback, and then I forgot wide receiver. I forgot his name.
Almost did.
He dropped the ball, and then they had to
Lockett.
and then they had to punt it, and then that's it. Aaron Rodgers sealed the game. So.
And he's a good wide receiver, too.
I know, crazy. But if he catches that ball, though, man.
Can't handle the pressure.
They're inside Green Bay territory with like a minute, 2 minutes to go.
Crazy.
Touchdown to win it down 5.
Would have been crazy. It would have been nuts. But you know what? Credit to Green Bay. They're definitely one of the best teams in the NFC. Mm-hmm. Not surprised, to see them in this position. One win away from
Wasn't there a controversial call on the first down in that game?
Yeah, the last first down.
Jimmy Graham caught the ball in front of the Fox line. But as they say, the Fox line is not official. And when you look at it, it was not off. It was like a yard ahead of where it actually first down was. Yeah. I think it was too close to actually overturn or anything like that. But I think
they were kind of they were kind of bashing too because they didn't bring the chains out. So of course, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, listen, Green Bay was definitely,
too much technology there.
Yeah. Green Bay was definitely the better team, man, and
they dominated most of the
They needed to do what to do to win this game. So.
Seattle came back late, but Green Bay was up a good amount in this game, and I thought I think they were up with 27-10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. They had a pretty solid lead, I think, in the third quarter, and then Seattle made their comeback back. Green Bay owned most of this game, so I think they deserve to move on. And with that said, moving on to this week, Green Bay. Woo! We got the NFC Championship game. That game will be at 6:40 today. Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers. We talked about can Aaron Jones run the ball against this San Francisco defense. What do you think's going to happen today?
Let's just say congratulations to the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, so now this guy, I was going to say, now he's cheering for the 49ers.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, he's throwing flags at us. He said,
Seattle.
They're not the real
can't beat
deal.
the Saints.
They're overhyped.
Oh my God!
Listen,
they're going to the Super Bowl.
They're going to the Super Bowl. That secondary is insane.
I think, in my opinion, the tail of the tape, I like to say, with this game is going to be, you already said it. Can Green Bay, can Aaron Jones, or maybe even Jamal Williams run the ball against this defense? You saw what this 49er defense did to Dalvin Cook. Who's probably one of the best running backs in the league. Shut him down. Are they going to be able to run the ball?
But they shut him down because they didn't respect Kirk Cousins.
That too.
He's not going to pass the ball.
You're right. But can they run the ball? I think that's going to be huge. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to, to win this game on his back by himself. Because I definitely think the Niners are going to try to take away Devontae Adams, and then who do you go with? So we'll see. I think that's going to be the big tail of the tape. And then on the other side of the coin, can this Green Bay defense stop the Niners running game? I don't think so.
Nope.
That's going to be a big task. Again, I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a close game, to be honest with you.
Really?
I don't think so.
I
I think the Niners win by at least
more than 10?
At least 7.
7?
I'll say 7 to 10 points at least. If you want to call it
pick
a close game, I guess.
I
hate picking scores.
It's going to be 27-0.
I'll say. I hate picking scores. I really do, because when you put somebody in the spot like that, so
17-10.
So.
Hey, you get the score right, yo. We're sending this into the NFL Network, so.
I'll say 31.
Ooh.
31.
I met her fall.
Yeah. She was like, what?
I'll say 31-21. 49ers.
Ooh, okay.
If this is correct, I'm going to send it to them.
We're sending this to the NFL Network.
31-21 49ers.
I will put on social media and tag everybody from the NFL. Listen, I agree that San Francisco has a great defense. They've been
handsome fuck
number one team in the NFC, and I pushed them as the number one team all year. I said that they had a chance to win the Super Bowl because they can run the ball and they can stop the run. They can play good defense, but I think it ends today. I think Green Bay is going to win the game. The reason why is because I don't even care if you don't even look for the flag. I think don't even look.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, you threw yellow. That's right. Because they wear green and yellow. The Green Bay Packers will win this game. The reason why is because say Packers.
Packers?
Say Packers. See, that guarantees the Packers are going to win. So, but listen, the Green Bay Packers are going to win because they don't turn the ball over. It's all about, in the playoffs, it's all about not making mistakes, not turning the ball over. And we just talked about how Jimmy G can be loose with the football at times. And if they don't run the ball, you can't be so overprotective of your quarterback. You got to let him win the game. And I think we've seen Jimmy G make enough mistakes that you can see him making that big interception either in the first half, second half, having 2-3 turnovers, and knocking them out of the game, or at least putting him in a bad disadvantage. I don't see Rodgers doing that. So I think because they're the type of team that's going to play disciplined football, not too many penalties, I think they can slow the game down enough that I think the Packers win this game 27-24 in a field goal game late.
That would be crazy.
I think Mason Crosby hits the game-winning field goal at the end, and they win 27-24. And so I got the Packers going to the Super Bowl next week. And
that would be huge, man. Wow.
So, with this said and done, let's move on to the AFC Championship game.
There we go.
So,
tighten up.
Listen, I'll get mine out of the way. I think the Titans have had the perfect type of coaching for the playoffs. They haven't made any mistakes. Tannehill only has 1 turnover, and he takes advantage when they're in the red zone. The Titans have not attempted a field goal kick since week 11.
What?
No, week
really?
11.
That's crazy.
That far back?
Yeah, they signed a kick. They signed a kicker when Ryan Suckup got hurt and missed all those kicks. They signed, I think it's Curtis Joseph as a kicker. He hasn't attempted a field goal since he's been on the team yet. Because every time they get in the red zone, they score touchdowns. And I think that's the type of game you need. We know in the playoffs, field goals don't win it. You got to score touchdowns. Yep. And their red zone efficiency for touchdown has been around 32-33%. While the next best team has been around 10%. Like, they have been far and away from the second best in terms of red zone efficiency for touchdowns. The thing about them is they're not turning the ball over. They're scoring touchdowns when it matters. And the biggest thing is they're playing defense. If they could think of one more strategy to try, like I said, push everybody back, make them run the ball, make Mahomes throw into 8-man, 7-man coverage, I think they're going to win. So I think the Titans are going to win today's game. I'm going to say the score is 24-20. Tennessee.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game.
What do you think?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, a tough game because, on one side of the coin, this Titans defense, I think, is one of the best defenses in the league. If any defense is going to stop, Patty Mahomes in this offense, it very well can be the Titans defense. But you saw what this offense is able to do. They did it, against Houston, who, again, I don't regard Houston as one, a great defense. But they're a decent defense, but look what they're able to do. I mean, score, that many points that fast.
You got to say that Houston is a top
10.
100.
I'm not convinced, of course, with Casey's defense. And on the other side of the coin, they're not going to stop Henry.
They will not stop Henry.
So, is it a shootout?
Is
it a shootout? My big thing is this going to be a shootout or is this going to be a close game where it's going to be low scoring?
I think shootout.
I think
Kansas City.
Yeah, obviously that's what I was about to say. You took the words right out of my mouth. If it's a shootout, obviously that's going to favor KC more. If this is a low scoring game where it's going to be tough, grind it out, yeah, it's definitely going to favor the Titans.
And we're just going to start thinking of championship games in the past.
With that said, listen, I'm not going against what I said last week in terms of I think it's Reed's time. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think they pull this. I think they pull this game off. Mm-hmm. I definitely think it's not going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be close. Mm-hmm. Again, I hate giving scores. So
I'm correct.
I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go with 24-21 KC. All right. I think KC pulls it off in the end with a field goal. They have the last possession. They're able to get a field goal and win it at the end.
If they have a chance to win, like let's say they're down 2 or 1 point and have a chance to miss, they have one of the best field goal kickers in the league in Harrison Butker. And remember, they had a chance to tie the game in Week 10. They were down 35-32 with Butker, and we blocked their field goal at the end to win the game.
See, look at that. That's crazy.
I think it could be a similar situation,
maybe.
But then they're not going to hit it.
Questions?
What's your question?
Obviously, Tennessee.
Hey, baby.
You're KC.
Okay, I'll get you chicken nuggets.
You guys are coaches.
Yeah.
What do you do to stop KC?
I only rush 4 to 5 people and have everybody else in coverage. You got to slow them down. And I think the weather is going to help that because when you're in 18, 19 degree weather and they said the wind chill is going to feel like 6 degrees, it's hard to catch the ball. It's going to hurt when you get hit. And KC doesn't want that. They want the old St. Louis Rams just fastest show on grass because they play outdoor. And they just want to score touchdown. It's very hard to do that when you're in a situation where it's cold and tough to even catch the football. So if I'm down, I just hold everybody back, let you catch the ball in front of me and just hit them. Last week I said with Lamar Jackson, every time Lamar ran the ball, hit him. I think they have to do that with their wide receivers because they have small wide receivers. Tyreek Hill's a small guy.
He is, but he's fast.
But that's the thing. It hurts to run in 6 degree weather. If it feels like 6 degrees, it hurts to just run. You're going to have to catch the ball and get hit. You're not going to like that. So push everybody back, let them catch the ball, and just hit them. That's what I do.
How do you stop Henry? What would you do if you were as a coach?
I mean, I'd obviously stack.
Obviously, Titans, their biggest threat is Henry. That guy's like a Mack truck coming down it.
I mean, can they do it? I don't think so. But
do you stuff the box?
Yeah, you have to. You have to stack the box. You have to try. The biggest thing is you want Tannehill to beat you. Tannehill with his arm has to beat you in this game. That's what KC has to be focused on. They got to try to be creative as much as possible. Again, stopping Henry, trying to limit his touches, trying to limit him, from getting that ball. So, with that said, hi Isabel. With that said, it's going to be a tall task. I don't think so because No defense so far in this playoffs has been able to do it, and I don't think KC's gonna be able to do it either. So.
Wow, but you got a low-scoring game though.
I do. Just because
I don't want him as my coach. We can't do it.
We can't do it. Here's the coach. When they was like, I think we got to score 50 to win. Like, really? Really? You got to score 50 to win?
I just think this has a feel, what I'm saying, like he said, with the weather and all. I mean, I think it has a feel for a low-scoring game.
If my coach says, I got to score 50 to win, I'm firing that defense coordinator. Like, seriously. Like, you got to be able to hold him to try to 30. Like, say, listen, score 30 and we can win. All right. Score 50? No, it's not happening.
And she makes this.
This is how you know it's a live show, guys.
Yeah, definitely a live show.
You say you have another question?
That's it.
Okay, all right.
What will be the game plan?
So next week.
Oh, there goes the flag.
We will be
there goes
back.
The flag.
That's fine. The flag's coming down. Next week, the show's breaking down.
The show's breaking down.
So we will catch you next week. Super Bowl picks. We'll be able to talk about what happened this week as well as what we think will happen the week after. There's 2 weeks in between. So we're going to catch you early before everybody else gets their predictions. So we will catch you next week. Peace out. Enjoy Championship Sunday, guys.
That's right. Órale, mi gente. Love you.
Peace.
Have a great Sunday.
Well, it was one of those days.
Let's go Titans.
Tighten up.